And welcome back, everybody, to episode 209 of Two Goalies, One Mic, brought to you by Fatty Beer Company, Western New York's premier market and tap room with over 300 beers to choose from at 7 different Western New York locations. If you need a beer, make sure you make it a Fatty Beer. Let them know Two Goalies, One Mic sent you. I am your host, Duane, joined by my co-host, Connor Hurley. Connor, it's been a minute since you've been on the home opener, right? I'll hang up and listen from the home opener. I think it was last time. Are you there? You are muted, sir. You cannot be heard. I don't know what's going on with Hurls' mic. We're having an issue there, so I'll carry the load here for a second. But yeah, we are starting the season 0-3. Obviously, we saw what happened at the Colorado game. You question the effort in the third period. Did they give up on Lindy? There's a lot of questioning that because, again, there was no sense of urgency in the third period. You heard the fire Kevin Adams chants. You saw him, it went viral. You saw the fans with bags on their heads, fans throwing jerseys on the ice. And we're only 3 games into the season. Not a fantastic start at all. I don't really know how we let me see here. My layout is now all jacked up. I don't really know how do you fix this? You know, I genuinely want to know. Like, I don't know how you honestly fix this at this point because the culture just seems so damaged and nothing seems to be going their way. The bounces aren't and the games aren't going their way. The effort isn't there. I don't know, man. It's been a really difficult first 2 weeks of Sabres hockey, to say the least, as we sit here and wait for Connor to get on the show. He's having microphone issues, unfortunately, so he'll be here hopefully in a moment. But yeah, it's very concerning. And I said it on a episode of I'll Hang Up and Listen. I genuinely think that there is a deeply rooted cultural issue still within this hockey team. That's why Kevin Adams was brought in, right? We were told he was going to fix all the culture issues with this hockey team, that we were going to, this team was going to be a family. We heard about the team retreat at the end of training camp to bring them all together. And I understand that we're dealing with injuries, right? Like there are injuries, that are within this team right now. It is an excuse. I think it is a valid excuse. And who knows, when Michael KessleRing gets back, because I'm not even talking about UPL because Alex Lyon has played absolutely fantastic through the first 3 games. Like, he has given them a chance to win every single game, no doubt about it. He has, I think we got Hurls in now. Hurls, are we good?
You got me?
I got you. Is you having an issue with the microphone?
Laptop, microphone. We're about as buttoned up as the Sabres are right now. So we'll go from here and then figure it out, I guess.
Yeah, you're coming in clear now though, so you're good. So I was just telling while we were waiting for you to get on, it's like it's gone about as bad as you can expect. Not expect, but is as bad as it could go to start the season. 0-3, you've only scored 2 total goals. You're questioning the effort. Fans are showing up to the game in bags with, Tank for McKenna written on it. Sell the team written on another bag. Jerseys are being thrown on the ice. You're getting sound bites from Tage Thompson that, I think there's 2 sides of that chalk line. Is that, people appreciate the passion, appreciate and understand the frustration, and that, 14 years doesn't fall at his feet or their team's feet. And then you have other people on the other chalk line. Like, I was listening to Jeff Merrick today on the sheet. He was with, I forget his name, Michael, from the Hockey News. He covers the Sabres. And, he was talking about the Tage comment about, whether it's, 4 years or 14 years, the world isn't any, and like, and then Jeff kind of cut in and he was like, but it is a problem for the fans. It's a problem. It is on you guys in a sense. You may not seem like that, but like when the fans are chanting what they're chanting, when you hear the booing, we understand, and we obviously can see that it's weighing on all of you. So yeah, like obviously you guys think about it. Obviously it affects you, but it also affects the fans even more so because it's been 14 years since they've seen a winning hockey team. I think in that 14 years, maybe they've had 2 teams maybe that finished above 500. I'm like maybe 3 and 14, which is pathetic. But I mean, a lot to cover here from the first 2 weeks of the season, and obviously they head into they have a home game against Ottawa. I was checking ticket prices for tomorrow, Hurls. Tickets are already under $10.
Yeah, not too surprising. You mentioned it's about as bad as you'd expect. I don't think anybody expected it to be this bad to at least start the season.
No, I chose my words poor.
Yeah, it's a series of unfortunate events, even before the Josh Norris injury at the end of the home opener, at the end of the season opener. Obviously, Power being up, your second defensive pair, which you thought was potentially going to revamp the entire defense, and Owen Power and Michael Kesslering not playing together to begin the season is obviously really, really bad luck. Zach Benson taking a puck to the face the day before the game and having to go to the hospital is horrible, horrible luck. And then whether you think it's bad luck or it's bad management or a combination of the two, Josh Norris getting hurt on a seemingly innocuous play towards the end of the game on a relatively meaningless faceoff, which is likely going to have him out until 2026, the calendar year, at least 3 months, is a combination, of bad luck, and also he's injury prone. So yeah, it's really, really horrible at the moment. I think the only bright spot, I think both of us can agree, has been Alex Lyon for the most part. I think Tage and Darlene have at least somewhat lived up to what we think that they're capable of. I was just looking. Tage has 18 shots in 3 games. He's not, for the lack of trying, getting the puck to the net. I think he's doing the most he can with whatever he can, and at this point, it's not too much otherwise from a high danger perspective. So, yeah, it's really, really bad right now, and unfortunately, it seems like it could get worse given their schedule in the next few weeks. But yeah, not ideal to say the least. Can't hear you for some reason. I don't know what's going on. But yeah, give me a second.
I have my mic muted. Sorry.
Well, there you are.
Mic muted. That was not me. Could you not hear me like the entire time before?
Yeah, no. After I stopped talking, I couldn't hear you. Yeah.
So I apologize if people couldn't hear me. So what I was saying is you have a lot of division games coming up, and it's going to be a situation where if things don't get better fast, you could literally be out of this by American Thanksgiving, like easily, like very easily. Like you obviously you're one of, I think it's 4 or 5 total teams in the league right now that still don't have a point in the standings. You're not getting any healthier. I mean, you're going to get Zach Benson back, but hopefully Greenway back. But I do want to ask you this. There was a quote today from Lindy Ruff, and then they asked him about possibly bringing like Kalenius or Oslin up, and he said they have considered it, but that window's closing, essentially because they're going to be getting Greenway back and getting, Zach Benson back. But my question is, you can't score right now. Like Jordan Greenway isn't a goal scorer. He's a bottom 6 guy. He'll score he'll score maybe 10 to 12 goals a season. Like, when he's healthy and he's playing well, he's a player fans can really get behind. I just don't understand when you have a giant hole in your top 6, potentially 2, because Jack Quinn ain't cutting it. He ain't getting it done. I mean, it's only 3 games. Why are you not, especially with potentially both of their jobs on the line, at least with most franchises they would be, why aren't you at least rolling the dice? And I don't even think it should be calling rolling the dice, bringing one of those 3 first-round picks up out of Rochester just to give it a run. You've moved Tage back to center to try and maintain some semblance of center depth. Why not just give it a try? Hellenius, he showed out in preseason. So did Osland. I think Rosen didn't have a great training camp, but he started off pretty well in Rochester. His first game had 2 goals. I just don't understand. At some point, and our buddy Walt made a great point on Twitter a couple days ago. It's really interesting. Like these players that you've drafted in the first round, they're too good to include in some type of package or a trade, but they're just not good enough to make your lineup on an 0-3 team. Like, make that make sense.
Yeah, it doesn't. And I think they're going to get to a point where they're going to have to try something different if they don't start scoring goals. So I think he'll say that right now. I think anything this team says in the media at this point is them just saying words to say words for the most part.
Mm-hmm.
I don't blame Tage at all for what he said the other day. How many times could we probably go back to his media interviews over the past 4 seasons and maybe splice together the exact same clip of him saying something similar? There's not much to say at this point. I think they even said that talk is cheap before the season and that hope is just a strategy. So whatever they say in the media, I'm not taking much credit in whatsoever. I really do believe this is going to come down to them just scoring goals. You mentioned they might be out of it by American Thanksgiving. They could be out of it by Halloween. They have 8 games left in October. 7 of them are in the division. That could get scary super, super quickly. The next 6 games against Ottawa, Florida, Montreal, Detroit, and Toronto back-to-back next weekend, they are all in the Atlantic Division. And then you have Columbus and Boston after that. So this could get dicey super, super quickly, especially if they continue along this pace. I think there have been at least moments. I didn't watch the Bruins game, thankfully, on Saturday, but within the Ottawa and Avalanche game, there have been at least moments where they look like a semblance of an offense and that they are creating some chances and some opportunities, but not consistent enough to compete at an NHL level, which is obviously super, super disappointing. The defense hasn't been horrible. I think Lyon, as we mentioned, is played great, and he's made the saves that he's needed to make. He's kept the team in it in all 3 games. The Rangers score isn't indicative of what that game was, and these other 2 against what likely will be very, very good teams. Maybe not in the Bruins case, but definitely in the Avs case. 3-1 games, right? These aren't blowouts. So yeah, of course, we'll look at it in the macro sense of 14 years. But I think this team really needs to do their best as possible to block out the noise, which is going to be there, especially tomorrow if they end another first period without scoring a goal. They're going to hear the boos. They're going to hear the Fire Adams chants. All they can do to quiet that is go out there and do it. They might not have the personnel to do it, which is a completely different story, in which case there's going to be a complete overhaul, and they're going to have to start from ground zero. But for them to keep some semblance of this team, they have to go out there and prove it.
I agree. And again, if they can't figure it out, I mean, and we saw the lines in practice today. I want to bring this up too. Koulik might be a healthy scratch tomorrow. He was playing on the extra line today during practice. He wasn't with either power play unit. What do you got going on with your camera right now, bud?
It's my phone, so it's
Oh, okay.
not the
I
easiest
mean, it's fine.
situation in the
It
world.
looks
But
fine the way you've had it. I just leave it like
yeah,
it is. Koulik was skating with the extra line today, and he said Lindy flat out said that what he's been doing hasn't been good enough. I mean, you could legitimately point at a 90% of this roster and say it hasn't been good enough. Like Justin Danforth hasn't been good enough. Peyton Krebs certainly not good enough. Beck Malenstein not good enough. Tage Thompson has not been good enough. Dahlin has not been good enough. He served up an absolute pizza in the Colorado game up the middle that ended up being the game-winning goal. And I understand you're a player that you're frustrated. You're taking chances. You're a player that you normally take chances like that. And I think I think for the most part with a guy like Dahlin, when players like him take chances like that, you want them to do that because more times than most it's going to work in your favor because they're that level of a player. But he legitimately just served up a pizza on the cushion stick and it ends up the back of net by Makar. Nobody's been good enough except for Alex Lyon at this point. I've liked a little bit what I've seen from Josh Doan. I thought he's looked good so far. I would have liked to seen him give him another game on that top line. I thought Tage and Tuck, they did look good. I know Lindy loves mixing things up and, he's got Zach Benson back and he knows that line can work. But I just don't understand why Koulik is getting the Derek Roy treatment. Like I've said it from training camp. Like, I don't think it's fair to put him into the roles they're expecting him. He just turned 21. It's his second year, and you're asking him to carry this giant load on his shoulders, filling that Dylan Cousins role this season. Like, again, you play in the NHL, you're going to have expectations on you, but to scratch him, like, that's the solution here. So when I see that, I genuinely, it's tough for me to even expect them to reach into the pipeline to bring up one of those guys. Like, if you're going to scratch Yuri Koulik, I mean, I don't think you're going to really take a chance then and go and bring up Noah Ostlund or Consta Helenius or Isaac Rosen. Like, I don't know, man. Nobody's really been playing good, and to single out that guy as not being good enough when you could legitimately point at every individual player on your team, and except for Alex Lyon, and say the same exact thing. I don't understand why he's like the early season scapegoat for Lindy.
Yeah, I think he might just need somebody, and he had high expectations for him, and he is looking at things that are probably deeper than what we've at least seen, and Koulik probably doesn't meet any of those either. So that's probably a bad sign as far as he's concerned in his development, and maybe he's done this with him before, and it's gave him a kick in the ass, and he's been able to perform after that. So hopefully that's the case. But more than anything, and I think we all knew that this potentially would be a huge issue again, is obviously the power play. 0 for 10, I think it is. I'm almost positive, which not necessarily super surprising,
11,
but
close enough.
yeah, maybe 0 for 11. Yeah. It's just disappointing, obviously, because we knew that Seth Appert would be running the power play again after winning one of the league's worst power plays last season, and we'd at least hoped there would be a little bit of a schematic difference. It doesn't seem like there's much. It doesn't seem like there's a lot of movement, a lot of creativity. The entries are similar. The faceoffs on the power play are similarly bad. They're not trying much new, which is leading to similar results. The definition of insanity. So yeah, I don't know. Like they're not gonna score too many more goals if this power play continues to be stagnant and continues to try the same things over and over again. I saw that they put Josh Doan on the top power play unit today at practice. Maybe he can provide a spark, get something to the net, get a little bit more traffic. There are 2 goals, even obviously not on the power play, have been in the result of just throwing the puck at the net. So maybe they'll try that. That's at least a better strategy than what they've done so far. But yeah, it's very, very bleak at the moment. The penalty kill is 100%, so that's good. That's at least a positive. Yeah, and they haven't taken too many penalties either, from what I remember. So that's at least something. But yeah, not great. And I wonder if they keep playing Alex Lyon. I don't know how long UPL is going to be out. Hopefully he'll be back soon. But are you going to go to Colton Ellis in one of these games, in one of these what's soon going to be a must-win game for a guy who I don't think he's played an NHL game as far as I know. Are you going to bring up Devin Levi? And
well, that's my question here too, and I'm glad you brought this up because when's the last time Colton? Can you look that up? When is the last time Colton Ellis even played in a preseason game?
I think he played in a preseason game for the Blues this year. I'm almost positive. I could be wrong on that, but let's see.
Like, because so worst case scenario, say they go 0 for 4, and like you got to give this guy a rest, right? You have to. But are you going to, again, every single game right now is a must win until you finally win one. Are you going to go to the cold goalie who's only practiced with your team now for like a week, if that, has a handful of practices underneath his belt? Who knows when the last time he played in a game was? Or at least Devin Levi's played. Like, he has played in a game. I don't know. What is the responsible decision there? I don't know. I mean, obviously they have Georgiev down in Rochester. Do they bring him up? But then what does that say to Devin Levi if you're calling up Georgiev instead of him? Yeah, I don't know, man. Like, I personally, I did not see anything worthwhile from Alexander Georgiev. We've talked about this. Like, if it were me, and I know like people think I'm biased, but if I want to win, I mean, I'm probably calling up Devin Levi because at least he has played in like the last week. He's played in a game. I don't know.
Yeah, no, it goes against everything they've said about. I mean, I guess it really doesn't, in the sense that they just want him to play. It doesn't necessarily matter where it is. You obviously don't want to stunt his development and put him into a bad situation. But if you say you're wanting to win games, I agree that he probably gives you a better shot than Colton Ellis at the moment. It's similar AHL numbers, but just in terms of familiarity and a guy that has been in the system, has been around the guys, and gives the guys confidence as well. I think Ellis was a good pickup, and I think he's potentially a guy that can give you a game or two here and there. But less than 2 weeks after signing him, I'm not necessarily sure it's the best idea.
Yeah. And I've seen stuff in the chat from Mauricio. He's hearing that Devin Levi is on the trade block. I haven't heard that at all, and I don't think that's true at all. Personally, I mean, that sounds like a Facebook thing to me. Somebody maybe on a Facebook, page or something. I personally don't believe any of that. But anyways, yeah. What was your opinion on the Tage? I'm gonna actually bring it up right now. The Tage Thompson comments from after the game, and you can be on either side of the chalk, but I'm gonna bring it up right now so we can give it a quick listen, because it is being talked about like quite a bit today. So here we go.
Believer that negativity breeds negativity, and that's kind of how we've snowballed things in the past. So we can't let 3 games be the end of the world. Like I said, like obviously that sucks. It sucks. No one wants to lose their first 3 games, but we got an opportunity Wednesday to turn it around, and I think that's all we got to start doing is just look at the next game. Can't keep looking back. I mean, the last 3 games, the last 4 seasons, the last 14 seasons, whatever you want to do. We just got to keep our sights set on what's next. And for us, that's Ottawa. And we have a day tomorrow to come in and get better as a group and work on things and move forward. What's done is done. So I'm tired of talking about the past and tired of talking about, well, we're in 3 games. So I'll take some questions on Wednesday if you got them.
Like, that was almost kind of like, for me, reminiscent of I don't know if you remember from The Last Dance how like Jordan was getting tired of like the retirement questions, if he's going to play beyond this year, this, that, and the other, kind of like reminiscent. Like, I'll take questions about next game if you want. I'm not answering any questions about anything else but that, I'll whatever. But I'm on the side of the fence where I'm at least I'm hopeful, because there's passion in that voice, right? Like, he's frustrated. He should be frustrated. He should be sick of hearing about 14 years. Trust me, we're sick of talking about it. We are sick of talking about it. I'm sure the media is sick of talking about it. We understand that this doesn't fall all at your feet, but it also kind of does. But here's my thing on the whole thing, and again, I'll defend Tage, and I'll say that I appreciate the response, and he should have that kind of response. He's a player that's very valued around the league. He's very valued in this franchise by these fans. He's one of the best goal scorers in the league, but the lack of effort and desperation in the back half of that Colorado game tells me differently. Because, and it's not just like me saying this or trying to, grab it, at the low hanging fruit here, but it was blatantly obvious that they were just going through the motions in that third period. And like Jeff Merrick, even again, I listened to that podcast today, and he goes, they were playing as if they were the ones that were up 3-1. And it made no sense to him. And I agreed with him, because there were times where they were like, with 8 minutes left, holding the puck in their own end and waiting for things to develop. And like, there was just no sense of urgency from their game, no desperation. And, great first period, fantastic first period. You came out of that tied 1-1, again, you call it a fluke or want, but sometimes that's what it takes, getting pucks on net, and great things happen. And that's what happened, for Tage Thompson. But I don't know, man, like the performance isn't indicative of the passion I heard in that soundbite.
Yeah, I agree with that. Of course, they're not performing to any of their expectations. I don't think it's for a lack of effort, to be honest. I mean, I really, truly believe they don't have the team. They don't have the guys. Like, they may have looked like that they weren't trying at the beginning of the third period, but I think teams know that if they get a lead, that they can go into a shell that allows them to play a certain way that prevent the Sabres from getting any type of meaningful chance, given the way that the lineup is constructed at the moment. I think that we can say all we want about effort and these 14 years and the stress and the weight of everything, but if you look at this team on a year-to-year basis, this roster right now is just not good enough. It wasn't good enough going into the year. It especially isn't good enough with Josh Norris out and Zach Benson out and UPL and Michael KessleRing and all these additions that you made, that not all these additions, the few additions you made that you thought potentially could make a difference if everything went according to plan. Hope being the strategy, turns out wasn't a good strategy. So yeah, I mean, I completely understand Tage not wanting to talk about the past. Nobody does. This is like,
I
is
get
maddening. This is just like unbelievably. It's like the Jets, and we keep going back to the Jets because they're the only other professional sports team with a 14-year playoff drought.
literally,
But
yeah.
they keep trying new coaches. They keep trying new quarterbacks. They switch quarterbacks with the Steelers, and look at the Steelers. They're 5-1. So you can try anything. You can throw darts at the wall. But at the end of the day, if you don't have the supporting cast, if you don't have the right systems in place to support that supporting cast, it's not going to work. And currently, it's clearly not working. So, yeah, that's all they can do at this point. That's all he can say is focus on the next game. And he'll continue to say that if things start to go wrong, even more wrong than they already are.
Yeah. And again, like you said, you appreciate you appreciate the passion and the the frustration. Yeah, I'm glad they're frustrated. I'd be very, very, very deeply concerned if there was an enormous frustration and even a sense of pressure on them right now, because we saw rumors this past week that the culture in the room is really bad right now. Like, I don't know, who are the leaders on this team then? Like, I don't get it, man. Like, we talk about, again, we talk about that third period, and it just seems like they gave up on it. Like, why is that? Like, why? Here's okay. So Johnny Lazarus and Colby Cohen, they had Barnaby on their podcast this morning. A guy who obviously is a beloved alumni of the Sabres. The fans love him. Whenever he has something to say about the Sabres, like Sabres fans just gravitate towards it, right? So they had him on to talk about this 0-3 start with the Sabres. And Johnny asked a really good question. You kind of, obviously it's different eras of hockey, different personalities of hockey player compared to now. But, if you were on this Sabres, if you were on the Sabres team, if Brad May was on the Sabres team, if Rob Ray was on this Sabres team, like, are you guys standing up and asking for accountability? Because there was a video posted by one of our buddies, Sabres Classics, this past week. It was a feature on Pat LaFontaine, but it kind of cut to some in locker room stuff. And you hear Rob Ray standing up and speaking about in between periods about what needs to be done. It was Rob Ray, a guy who played 7-8 minutes a night, but still he was a voice that was respected in the room. Like, my question is, there is zero chance, and even Barnaby said, there is zero chance that if there was an effort like that when we played, or if we were like that would go, that somebody's in that room is standing up, and they'll even point the fingers at themselves, or point the fingers at other players. Like, this isn't going to cut it. Why is this happening? So my guess is, is there anybody in this room standing up and saying something? Because I'm going to pull it up right here. Like, this is fucking embarrassing, bro. Like, this, like, right here, I'm going to pull it up right now. This is embarrassing. This is happening at your games right now, and you are 3 games into the season. 3. This right here. Bags on heads for Tank for McKenna and sell the team written on them. And I know it's a low-hanging fruit. Fans are just maybe trying to go viral. That's the way today is. But Sabres jerseys are being thrown on the ice, and they're chanting Fire Adams. We are 3 games into the season. 3. And this is already happening. So I have to imagine that if you had leaders like that, and I'm not gonna sit here and say that that's not happening, because I'm not in the room, you're not in the room, we don't know. But who is that guy at this point? Alex Tuck hasn't signed an extension. Is it him? I don't know. I would hope it would be him. He's wearing a letter. I don't know. Is it Tage? Is he staying up and pointing guys out and saying, you need to be better, you need to be better, I need to be better? Like, who is it? Because I'm just not getting that vibe from this team. I don't know about you, Rose, but they are not giving me that vibe that there is somebody, without a doubt, in between periods doing that. It used to be Lindy too, but I feel like he's a shell of the coach he used to be. I don't know, man. I don't know. I just wasn't expecting this much of a lack, or this vibe that I'm getting of lack of accountability. I'm sorry if this is so long-winded and I keep talking, and I'm sure you want to get something here, but like, I don't know, man. This is already happening. We're 3 games in. That is so fucking embarrassing. You had the rant from the fan after the home opener. Now you have this. Like, it's just never ending, Hurls. It's never ending.
Yeah, shout out Gen Z Duane, wherever you are. Hope you're doing all right, buddy.
I've been trying to get him on the show. Apparently, I have a lead on it, so we'll see. But no, continue.
Yeah, I feel for you. I can't imagine what it'd be like to be a 20-year-old Sabres fan and not even be cognizant for any good stretch of Sabres hockey. That must be tough. I really do feel for you. It's tough for us too. But also, you mentioned it briefly. Like, we're not in the room. I do believe there is some semblance of a conversation, a sense of leadership. Now, you mentioned Tage, you mentioned Alex Tuck. Have to believe it's from Darlene at this point in his career. He's matured a lot. Yeah, I think he does lead by example a lot. And of course, like, there is a little bit of a language barrier there, but he's also gotten a lot better at that. He's the captain of this team, and especially since he's gotten to see, I guarantee you he's had a more vocal voice in the room, especially in between periods. And also the most veteran guy left on this team. I really do believe Jason Zucker has some type of influence in this locker room, especially on the younger guys. They've mentioned that before, that he's very, very vocal. He has individual conversations with guys, and he also speaks up in the locker room. Somebody's got to do it, and I think a combination of those 4 guys hopefully have an idea of how to motivate guys in between periods. And yeah, Lindy's not necessarily the rah-rah guy he used to be, a little bit older, a little bit more reserved, but you have to imagine he's doing a little bit of that too. Yeah, I'm going to keep going back to it. Like, until these guys produce, until these guys show any sense of meaningful, productive hockey, it's going to get worse. I think they just need a couple to go in. They have had some bad luck, but they need to throw it on net. They need to get dirty. Every time my beer league team can't score a goal or they're struggling to create chances, I tell them to park their ass in front of the net and start banging at the goalie's pads, tipping everything they possibly can, taking his eyes away, doing anything they possibly can to make him uncomfortable. Because that, me as a goalie, that's what makes me feel most uncomfortable, is when I can't see shots, when pucks are flying all over the place,
Yeah.
when pucks are bouncing, when I can't see anything in front of my net, or there's constantly sticks in my gloves or in my pads, making the goalie as uncomfortable as possible. Because these three goalies, obviously pretty good goalies, Swayman, Scott Wedgwood, but he's playing behind a really, really good team, and Shesterkin. It's been easy for them. They've seen a lot of these shots, and the 2 goals have been pucks that have thrown at the net. So yeah, it's really hard to say confidently that no one's saying anything in the room. Of course, we can look at it from a 30,000-foot view and say that, of course, there's a really bad vibe from the team at the moment. The fans are going to do what the fans are going to do, and it's only going to get worse is if they can't score goals and they lose games. But I think these guys, hopefully, are doing whatever they can to remain composed and focus on the Senators tomorrow night, who, if they have a similar performance to last season, is a pretty good matchup for them. They won, was it all 4 games with the Senators last season, or was it more than that? Because I think it was potentially more, from what I remember. I think they swept the season series with the Senators. So hopefully that trend continues tomorrow night.
I do want to, speaking of Ottawa, I do want to bring this one up because we talked about the fire Adams chance at the game, the bagged heads, the poor performance, especially how noticeable was in the third period. If we lose to Ottawa, and again, no Brady Tkachuk, so this should be a winnable game, especially with the way Alex Lyon's been playing. If we lose to Ottawa and Cousins comes out and shoves it up our hoop and has a 3 or 4, even 4-point game night, could that be the end of Kevyn Adams?
How many times have you asked me, could this be the end of Kevyn Adams?
So many times, but that trade in particular, like how it's all kind of started. Norris doesn't even finish 1 game, out 2 months. Cousins comes in, he scores that same night, and then he comes into your house and sticks it up your ass, and scores 3-4 points, maybe a goal, a couple assists, and undoubtedly looks night and day of a different player than he was when he was in Buffalo. Like, how much worse does that look for you if you're Kevyn Adams? If you're Terry Pegula and you're watching this, granted, we all know that he trusts this guy, he loves this guy, this, that, and the other, but like, does that in particular finally maybe push Terry Pegula over the edge? Like kind of look at Kevin like, what the fuck were you thinking? Like, what were you thinking? And we all saw the Sabres embedded footage, the doctor clearing Norris. And even when he, at that moment, had an oblique injury, I'm pretty sure he did. He was dealing with an oblique injury then. And now he's played 2 total games. 2 or 3 games. I don't even know how many games it's been. Like 3 games to finish 2. I don't know. No, he's played in 4 games and finished 2 of them. So I don't know, man. Like, could that finally maybe push Terry Pegula over the edge, Charles?
Well, maybe he already is. And maybe this first stretch of the season was already reason to potentially look at bringing Yarmo in as the full-time GM tomorrow night. If it goes as bad as you say it potentially could, yeah, that could be another linchpin. I don't think that if that scenario does happen, I don't think he gets fired after the game in between Wednesday and Saturday. But yeah, that would be another notch on the belt towards firing. Absolutely. I think that we're almost past the point of no return where no matter what happens, like, I wouldn't be surprised if he just gave him the year. You know what? I guess his contract is up at the end of the year. Have we spoken about that? I don't necessarily know.
I think he is, right? I think
Yeah.
everybody's contracts might be up.
Yeah. So given how he's operated from an efficient financial perspective, as they said, like, pains me to say, but I wouldn't be surprised if they were all just given the year no matter what. And then you blow it up and you start over in the offseason with hopefully Gavin McKenna to help push the PR train into next season. But
the conspiracy theory surrounding that whole thing started on Spit and Chicklets about obviously the connection of the Sabres, Pegula with Penn State. That's where Gavin McKenna plays. How bad of a start they had. That, like, They brought in Josh Norris knowing he wouldn't stay healthy. Whatever it was with Grinelli, they have fully believed this whole season was built around tanking for McKenna, which obviously it wasn't. But I guess it's again, low hanging fruit, right?
Yeah, of course. People are creative, and goes back to the guys with the bags and throwing stuff on the ice. Like, people on the internet are gonna come up with anything they want to get attention. But I personally like unraveling for Gavin the best. I might go with that as this continues to get darker and darker. But yeah, I'm not gonna go there yet. I'm not gonna go there at least until the calendar year 2026. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. We've gotten so far down this path that I wouldn't be surprised if they all last through the year, no matter what happens.
Yeah, I agree. I guess we covered the Tage comments. We covered the third period performance against Colorado. Talked about the fire, Kevin, the bags on head, the jersey on the ice. I mean, like, what in your eyes? I just don't see Koulik coming out of the lineup as being the answer, but I mean, looks like that's where they're trending. I don't know, man. I think I'd want my more skilled guys out there if I need goals. I don't need more Justin Danforth or how do they get out of this? Like, what is it going to take? Because the little things that matter when it comes to winning hockey games, they haven't been doing. We already talked about in this episode, not getting bodies in that, not putting pucks on that. For all intents and purposes, you can debate that they have been good enough defensively, and I mean the scores of these games kind of show that. You lost, was it 3-1, 4-0, and what was it, 3-1 again?
Yeah.
So you know what I mean? Like, it's not like the scores have been completely outrageous. You have some empty net goals in there, but like, what is it going to take? Like, is it just your stars not shining? You need your stars to start shining, right? Like, that's the big part. Obviously, getting healthy is a big part of that. You're getting Zach Benson back. There's talk about Jordan Greenway. Here's another thing, too. The goaltending, like, what is going on? Because Georgiev is going down to Rochester. When UPL gets back, are they going to run 3 goalies? They have to cut somebody, right? Like, somebody's got to go or be traded. I don't think it's going to be Levi. I think he's been in Rochester for a reason. They've been very vocally supportive of him. Like, who's gone? Is it Georgiev? Like, I don't get it. Because I think if it was going to be Georgiev, you would have already done that by now. Like, you would have did it. Like, Ratzlaff would have been, or Leinen would have been your backup in Rochester. I think both goaltenders have performed fairly well last season. I don't know who's gone. Like,
Yeah.
And even Jeff Merrick even said it too. Like, and I keep bringing up him. Like, why wasn't this Georgiev a PTO? Why did you feel like you had to sign the guy? Because the way the narrative was with UPL's injury, it wasn't bad. They weren't expecting him out very long, but then they went and signed a guy like Georgiev to a contract instead of a PTO. I don't know. Like, I feel like you just wasted, you wasted money on him when you could have just brought him in as if a contingency plan. And now it just feels like wasted money. I don't know.
At least they wasted money on something.
Yeah.
For the first time in a long time. But yeah, they'll probably
and then there's these rumors floating around that he wants to go back to Russia. I don't know. He was.
Yeah, no, I saw that too, that there was like a KHL rumor. Yeah, he's probably the odd man out. Ellis goes down to the AHL. He gives Levi a little bit of a relief, and then UPL comes up and splits time with Lyon. I imagine that's the most likely scenario. But yeah, I mean, thankfully so far, goaltending hasn't been the problem. The defense has looked a little bit better. The defense has looked a little bit better. I think it really, really comes down to doing whatever they possibly can to get pucks to the net and not be pretty. Get pucks deep, get pucks to the net. You hear these hockey cliches, but a lot of the time they're true. They're get the puck through the neutral zone, possess the puck as much as you can. Obviously, don't just dump and chase. Possess the puck in the offensive zone and do whatever you can to fire it on net and get a rebound. Make life tough for the opposing goalie. Because otherwise, if they're just throwing it on net, an NHL goalie that can see it is going to save it every single time. And then you get these high danger chances in the other end, 1 or 2 per period. That could be more than enough given the way that this offense is going right now. So, yeah obviously good starts. Power play needs to do something different. If they continue to do the same thing, they're going to be 0 for 20 and then 0 for 30 and then 0 for 40. And we're going to be at a historic pace in terms of bad power play over the past couple of years. So something's got to change there. At least they switched it up a little bit. I like Josh Doan. I like the way that he's played, getting a little muscle, getting a little grit in front of the net. So yeah, combination of those things starting tomorrow night. And then, yeah, I mean, you got to play like it's the playoffs, and it's crazy to say 3 games in, but it could be over by October.
Is it though, given the circumstances like we've talked about in this show, like whole season's been built on hope. Like,
yeah, everything's gone wrong.
Yeah,
everything has gone wrong.
Everything on the hope checklist has essentially gone wrong, right? You hope that Josh Norris would stay healthy and then could get back to being that player he was when he got that contract. Well, can't check that box. You hope that Jack Quinn can stay healthy and perform, at the level you felt like he would be, when you drafted him. Well, can't check that box. Haven't seen that yet. You would hope that the power play would improve. That was a big thing in the offseason, trying to find a way to improve this power play. Oh, nope, you can't check that box. You hope that UPO would stay healthy and be that guy that got that contract. Oh, can't check that box. It's just like a whole season built on hope. And say it over and over again, like Jason Zucker said at the end of last season, hope is a shitty strategy, and it has not worked out for them. And that really lies at the feet of your general manager, who once again, and this isn't like a first time occurrence. He's done this 3 off seasons in a row. 3 off seasons in a row. Like you're hoping that players reach a potential or stay healthy or do this or do that. Like you did it. You really did it. It started the year after they missed it by 1 point, and it has just gotten worse and worse in each off season. You haven't done the things to build on maybe the positives you have come out of a season, or tried to rectify the things that weren't going right. You've just been legitimately, and I don't know if that is the GM or if that is the owner. I don't know, but I don't know if you're slamming your head against the same wall season after season, and it just still isn't turning out right for a lack of a better way of saying it.
Yeah, I mean, every team, even the Colorado Avalanche or the Edmonton Oilers or the Florida Panthers, there is a sense of hope going into each season in terms of
but
players.
those are good teams.
For sure, absolutely. What I'm saying though is that they can do it. A team that hasn't performed any time recently, obviously can't have it. Of course, you wanted to see more free agent additions, which probably wasn't possible given guys probably didn't want to come here. You wanted to see more trades. They try to trade, and so far, not ideal given the Michael KessleRing injury in terms of what you wanted for that, and Dylan Cousins trade as well. And they've made hockey trades. We've talked about it before, and up until this point, with these most recent 2, Adams has done relatively well with that. He's at least tried things in terms of switching up the roster and doing what he can to maneuver different pieces, given that free agents won't sign here, given the situation. But at this point, every single possible thing has gone wrong. And you can't blame him completely for that, especially from an injury perspective, not with guys not named Josh Norris. But yeah, this is a pretty dire situation. And if these guys don't get back soon, it could get bad pretty quickly. So yeah, you got to hope for at least a few guys to get back and a little bit better, and these guys come together. I mean, Alex Lyon did say it, and that's at least from an athlete perspective. Some guys do perform at their best when adversity is the highest, when their backs are against the wall. He said specifically, he said that specifically, that he feels like he's at his best when adversity is at the highest and his back is against the wall. I think, speaking of guys who will speak up in the locker room and everything that we've heard from him and how thoughtful and intellectual he is with all of his answers in the media, I think he's probably a guy that has a voice, that is a respected voice in that locker room at the moment, especially with the way he's performed in these 3 games. So hopefully that attitude that he's taken to adversity, to his back against the wall, will apply to these guys in a macro sense of these 3 games, obviously going as bad or close to as bad as they possibly could have. So yeah, that's basically all you can hope for at this point, that they use this adversity as fuel to perform way better than they have so far and get some results.
And I'll tell you right now too, and I felt like this should have been easily, again, we'll go long hanging fruit, like easy extra motivation for two players in particular on this team, and Tage Thompson, Alex Tuch. This is not a good start if you're trying to make a bid to be on Team USA. And that turns into closer and closer, man. And you know, if you're playing like this uninspired hockey, you know, we saw the way Bill Guerin built that Four Nations team. I wouldn't put it past him to do it again. You know, you got to try and find some fire. You know, it should be winning for this team, should be more than enough motivation. But if you continue to perform like this, get your coach fired, get your GM fired, you know, and be out of playoffs by Thanksgiving, again, is Bill Guerin's a guy who's like, well, you know, I don't see the fire. And I'm going to pass. I'll go with Cole Caulfield this time. I'll go with Robertson this time rather than you. So like they better get those two particular better get their shit together pretty fast, because the Olympics are getting closer and closer every day.
Yeah, I at least like the 18 shots from Tage through the first 3 games. That's at least showing to me that he knows he needs to fire the puck on that, and even his goal the other game, doing whatever he can. With a shot like his, there's a good chance that it's going to go in, even in a low danger situation. So he's at least putting the puck on net. I've at least seen some of what we saw from Alex Tuch last season, especially on the penalty kill, taking some chances, trying to get some shorthanded opportunities. I think, yeah, a couple of years ago, he started the season a little bit slow, and then he came on really, really strong. So I'm not too worried about him. And yeah, I mean, the rest of the guys, obviously, you need something. You need something from Jack Quinn. You need something from Peyton Krebs. Zucker's been pretty good. I think I at least like his fire in front of the net, his ability to cause a ruckus a little bit, and I do think he is providing some leadership. But yeah, it's, as they say, it's going to take a team effort, and right now this team just may not be good enough.
Definitely isn't right now. Any final thoughts, you know, before we get out of here? We're coming up on an hour now. Well, 53 minutes. Any final thoughts? How's beer league going? How's life going? And final thoughts heading into Ottawa.
My hockey is going great. My new equipment is unbelievable. Getting compliments every single game. I can't go a period without somebody coming up to me and saying that they love the new setup. So that's been personally pretty gratifying. And for my game, the technology is so much better. If there are any goalies listening, obviously it's expensive if you can save up for it. The new technology in terms of the weight and the ability to move and see and seal the ice with these new pads is really remarkable, and it's taken my game to a new level, which I'm super, super happy about. So that's really cool. It's like getting new golf clubs. The feeling that you get of getting the extra distance, getting more control. That's what I would compare it to with this new set of pads, glove and blocker. And the glove, like 7 games in, is almost completely broken in, which is amazing. The ability to break that in way, way quicker than it used to be. So that's been good. And yeah, I mean, work's been really busy. Obviously football season and whatnot, but everything's going well. As far as the Sabres, I'm hesitant to say that can't get worse, but I think we all know that it could get worse. It could get way worse, actually, especially with the amount of division games that are coming up. So I'm going to just reserve judgment and expectations completely and just try to watch the games for what they are. And hopefully they all prove us wrong and they use that adversity and their backs against the wall to go out there, especially tomorrow night, in a situation against a team that they performed really well against last season, and do whatever they possibly can to play well, get off to a good start, and get a win.
Yeah, I hope you're right. We do have a question here from Mauricio for you. How is the California surf and pool party circuit?
I still don't surf. It rained for 12 hours from late last night into this morning. I had to go out and get a tarp to cover my ping pong table and my grill in the yard. So it's not the sunny California that you would imagine. It's actually getting cold here a little bit.
I'm getting cold here too. Finally.
Yeah, it's getting a little chilly at least. So weather's not been amazing, but still able to play golf, still able to experience it for what it is. So that's been fun. But yeah, no pool parties for me.
Okay. Well, that's unfortunate, but I'm sure the pool parties will come sooner rather than later, seeing as you do live in the mostly sunny California. And at least you get to watch a good hockey team. You can travel, a couple 100 miles in either direction and, find it, a fun hockey team to watch. So that's always cool.
Yeah.
So, I don't really have much. I did finally get cleared to go back to work today. That's pretty dope. In November. So excited for that. My doctor did tell me that I can play hockey again whenever I want, when I feel comfortable. Well, he didn't say it like that. He was like, "Oh yeah, you can play hockey now." And I'm like, "I don't know, man. I can't even jog yet." So I'm going to kind of put that one on the back burner, and I don't know. We'll see. I'll gradually maybe try and ease my way back into what we'll see. But I don't know. After seeing your Simmons set, I've been giving it a lot of thought about maybe doing some type of set on my own. Like, it seems like they're willing to do custom sets. Like, I've always wanted to do something close to resembling the old power reactor sets from back in the day in the 90s. I always thought those were so clean. The Cujo set with the helmet. I have the Cujo helmet right back here.
Highly recommend, and they'll work
yeah.
with you. We had I think a 96 email exchange in terms of what I wanted from every single detail with mine over the course of 2 weeks. And the whole process started in mid-July or early July, and then I got the pads and they were ready in mid-August. So it doesn't take that long, and they're the type of company that has amazing attention to detail, and they're so skilled, and they've done it forever. So yeah, anybody that's looking for a new set, I would highly recommend it.
Well, how do you feel about the Sabres wearing, if you hear that, they're going to wear whites at home for like the first time and I don't know how long?
Love it. Absolutely love it. Whatever they need to do to change up the vibe. I don't know if this was planned. If it wasn't and they just decided to do this, I think that's a great idea. Whatever you can possibly do to change the atmosphere, to change the feeling around this team, especially at home. Maybe that'll offer some sense of nostalgia from the odd. I know my dad's going to be a huge fan of that. Everyone who attended games back in the 70s and the 80s and even the 90s, I think is going to be really happy to see that. Those jerseys are some of the best in the league. The home ones are as well, but the away jersey, I think, is commonly accepted as one of the best jerseys in the league. So that's going to be cool.
I'll say this too. Like, if this season does truly go down the shitter and you're trying to find ways to get fans in the house, one way to do that, if you're going to do the blue and white at home, if you can get some type of approval, do the go ahead white at home at some point. Cause those were fucking clean, bro.
Yeah, that would be cool. Maybe free beer, or 10 cent beer, 10-cent beer nights.
10-cent beer night ends in a brawl.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying. Like, you got to do something at this point. Like that.
The headline on the 11 o'clock news would be like 10-cent beer night goes, ends in catastrophe.
Or it ends in the greatest party of all time. I don't know. Like, you gotta try something here. And that's from an organizational level too. So I don't know.
Sabres fan from Tonawanda loses his mind when the Tage parm sandwich was out before the opening face-off.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I think you got to throw some darts at the wall, and I think that's not a bad one.
Oh, that would be incredible. That was a good episode. I had a lot of fun. And there was something I did want to talk about. I know we have a fan out there that's in the chat right now, Connor, who did want me to talk about it. And I think you probably figure out what I'm talking about. We do have some tea of our own to spill. I wanted to give this team until Thanksgiving or, even the new year before we talked about this. And I'm not going to talk about it right now, but I'm going to tease it a little bit. We'll see how things go. Connor, I think you probably know what I'm talking about. But it's one of those things that, a friend of mine came across that he passed along to me that we haven't confirmed yet, but we're it's hard to believe that otherwise, that this isn't what we think it is. I know I'm speaking in very not ominous riddles right now, but I think I'm going to wait on it. I'm going to, obviously, for those of you watching and listening still currently right now or listening later, I hope maybe that perks up your ears a little bit. And again, this isn't me. I'm not trying to take advantage of a negative start, because if I wanted to do that, I would have did that already. I wanted to give this team a fair chance at proving me wrong, or not me wrong, but the narrative wrong. And I'm still going to keep doing that, but I'm not going to wait as long as I think I initially thought I would. But Connor, I think you know what I'm talking about. So that may be more to come. We'll see. But those are my final thoughts. It's just some tea that we could spill that isn't exactly it's not awful. It's not something that, in my opinion, would get anybody fired. Put it that way. Nobody's getting fired over this. But
nobody's getting fired over anything. So
yeah, well, pretty much. Yeah.
I don't know, man. Some in Sabres, some are calling this the Sabres version of Watergate. Yes,
it's harmless, but it's something that legitimately, I think, if you asked anybody, if you gave this situation, if you did a survey and you said you gave this situation to not even just casual hockey fans, just passionate hockey fans all over the league, and you ask which team do you think this happened to? I feel like 90% of the survey is coming baway to Buffalo Sabres, put it that way, because that's just the point it's been. So we're gonna wait on that. If ever at all, we'll see. I know maybe I shouldn't have brought it up, but it was just on my mind. And I see Connor nonstop in the chat here, so has nothing to do with a trade. I'll end that right now. Nobody requested a trade, but there is something. It's funny. It's really funny. And again, it only would happen to the Sabres. So I'll leave it at that. So with that being said, this has been brought to you by Fatty Beer Company, Western New York's premier market and tap room, with over 300 beers to choose from at 7 different Western New York locations. If you need a beer, make sure you make it a Fatty Beer and let them know 2 Goalies, 1 Mike sent you. I am Duane, for my co-host Connor Hurley. Thank you for joining episode 209. And if you enjoyed this, hit the like button, subscribe on YouTube, subscribe on Apple Podcasts, subscribe on Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts. Drop an elbow on that like button on YouTube and the bell icon so you know when we go live. So I'll hang up and listen. And as always, go Sabres. We will talk to you later.